This is my 2015 Mark III Audi TT. This is the first sports car that I ever bought to fulfill a childhood dream of building a Fast and Furious inspired car. I started documenting it on YouTube at the end of 2021 and this is what we've done to it so far. My first video was installing charge pipes and a turbo muffler delete, APR coil packs, turbo smart blow off valve, downpipe from HJS, painted the brake calipers, 034 engine and transmission mounts, pedal commander, sunstrip from my brand Hook and Hope, tyre wall stickers, billet control arms, a carbon fibre diffuser with rear spats, racing line drop links, Olin's road and track coilovers, and of course the mod that halted the build, the I-back sway bars. So if you've seen the part 1 video, you will know that the install was far from smooth. I started on the rear one thinking it was going to be easier, ended up snapping a bolt and getting it stuck in the subframe, so I moved onto the front. That went down okay. Front sway bar was installed and I got a 4-wheel alignment. That brings us to the rear. Not only did I snap a bolt that's still stuck in the subframe, I ended up drilling through my thumb and failed trying multiple ways to remove the bolt. So after a few failed attempts and a lot of research, that brings us to today. I have something that's hopefully going to remove the bolt. That means we can get the sway bar on and we can continue with the dream Audi build. What is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time coming this video. We're going to be working on the Audi. It's been a while since we've done that, but I have bought the cheapest welder on Amazon. You've got to build your own mask. But I'm going to see if I can weld a nut onto the bolt to extract it. I've tried every other way. If this works, it means I can get the rear sway bar on and also the new drop links from 034, which will be incredible. If this fails, then it's a whole new subframe. This is going to be my first try at welding. Let's see how the tacks come out.
So you can see I just got the bottom, didn't get exactly in the top. It's so hard to see through that mask, but really scary. Let's see if that's done anything. Can't really get the span around it, but is it coming? Please, sorry, please don't say it snapped even further. Oh no. So that's where I drilled into it. Maybe if I get some pliers, I'll get the rest of it out. But you can see where I've tried the screw extraction. The weld did work. That little weld just there. That's pretty cool. I welded a nut to the bit sticking out, went to spin it off and the bolt just completely snapped. Super easy. It was actually hollow inside, and what I ended up doing was building it up with some welds and then welded a washer onto it. I just tried to spin the washer off and it came off, but the bit that I've built up stayed on there, so I'm going to try and spin it out with some pliers, like grip onto it. If I can't do that, I'm thinking of welding a small wrench to it and then trying to spin it out. So I'll keep you updated. Before we start welding onto that again, I think if I can remove this lower arm here, I can get the drill in and I might be able to properly drill that. I've tried to remove this before and it was stuck. I'm going to give it a good go. I've just taken the level sensor off here. Got some WD-40 on all the bolts. It's just one there, and then these two, which I've had off before because I did the suspension. And this whole arm should come down. So that's what I'm going to try, take that whole piece out. Whatever happens, this bolt is coming out today somehow, whether I've got to drop the subframe or whatever. This video, we're going to get it out, we're going to get this sway bar on. This is well out of the way now. I did remove that bolt, but I don't think I need to. So what happened last time, I didn't undo the level sensor, so this stayed up a bit higher. As you can see now, I can get the drill easily in. So I'm going to try and drill it out. This is the bolt that I welded to try and get it out. It worked well, but That's what the bolt looks like on the inside. So it's like hollow. That's what we're contending with. And yeah, I'm struggling to drill it out.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to destroy the threads in that one just to get the bolt out and get another one of these nuts. I'm going to screw that on the other end. I'm going to weld that to the subframe, and then for now, that's how we're going to deal with it. This is a fraction of the drill bits that were destroyed trying to drill this hole out, getting the bolt out. Don't know whether the downpipe is harder than this, but this is definitely longer. Done some research, and basically I was spinning the drill way too quick. Just either breaking them from pressure or spinning it so fast they heat up and then they're just dull. So I've got to go really slow, use cutting oil, got these super heavy duty drill bits and then the tappers. So I think I'm going to have to use this one to retap the hole. I have gone through to the other side, but where I welded the washer on, it's now got extra to drill through, and I'm going to redo that. So we're going to do it really slow, and I'm hoping that this new set of drill bits, if I go slow with the cutting oil, they won't dull. I'll be able to cut the hole, retap it, and we'll be finished. So this arm's out. See, it's not in the best condition, but I'm going to keep it for now. This is stuck in, so everything on the left side's really, really corroded and stuck. So I'm going to try and get this bolt out and reuse it for now. Eventually I'm going to do a whole new subframe, lightweight, and then redo all the arms so they're all new, because it is pretty rusty underneath there. It looks nice on top. Ever since I bought it, it has been really rusty. Once I got under the car, I was like, I can't believe how bad it actually looked. So we are going to replace everything eventually, but for now I just want this drivable and yeah, back on the road. Fingers crossed all this stuff that I've just got is going to help me re-drill the hole, or drill a hole and then retap it and get this sway bar on. Finally, after all this time, God knows how many packets of drill bits, there is finally a hole that is relatively straight and in line with where we need to go. There was no chance of extracting it. I tried, and yeah, it just wasn't happening. So that's the one that came out of. This is a mess, but we can finally see through it. I tried welding, I've tried everything. That in the end, I think the welding made it harder for me to do this, but we've done it. There's a hole, relatively straight. I'm gonna go and eat something and then I'm gonna carry on, because what I've noticed is you've got to be really slow with these drill bits. They either dull or they snap if you put too much pressure on them. So I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna come back refreshed, hopefully. I've still got to drill that to the size and then tap it. So we've got a long way to go, but it is a huge step and I am super happy. I've cut the hole. It's the right size for the tap now. The next stage is to tap the hole. I'm gonna try it with the drill. I haven't got the tap and die thing, so fingers crossed this goes okay. I've seen some videos on impact drivers and drills. Impact driver will be better probably, but we only have the big one. After this, I'm hoping that we can get the screw in.
There it is. It screws in. I'll try and give that thread a little bit of a clean out, because I think it's got some, you can see it's got some bits on it. But that's finally a threaded hole.
And after all that, we can finally put this red sway bar in the Audi. I really hope that these threads like stick and we don't have any problems. We're not out of the woods yet. Again, once we get this in, there is still the seized bolt in the sway bar end link. Let's get the sway bar in, tighten it up, fingers crossed everything goes okay, and then we'll move on to the final bit. So we've got all new bolts. I'm gonna use this M9. To get the sway bar in, I did have to lower the exhaust slightly, not completely off, but enough just to get the sway bar over the top of the exhaust pipe. Just wind the bolts in finger tight. You don't want to go too tight because otherwise the sway bar is not going to rotate. You're going to have to rotate it once you get the lower arms in and the droplets as well. So just make sure you do that. Unfortunately, the threads gave out on this one, but I've got an idea.
there's enough sticking at the back to put a nut on it, and then I'll weld that to the subframe. These went in fine. I used the impact wrench for the first time, but it is really nice to have this red sway bar in. Just got to get this one tight and then torque them down. I'm thinking now maybe I should have put this in before I screwed the sway bar bits in, but I'm going to let it drop, see if I can get that bolt back through there. Even though the bolts didn't hold, I'm actually super happy with the progress that I've got so far. It's taken a long time to even get this far, and a ton of drill bits, a ton of time, a ton of thinking, and a lot of effort. So I'm super happy that the bolt's gone through. It actually did work just until the end, and it started getting really tight, and then the threads gave way. So it's not all lost. I've learned a lot, and I've got enough thread to put a bolt on the back of it and weld that bolt, or nut on the back of it and weld that nut to the subframe for now. This subframe is not going to stay. It's covered in rust. It's only going to get worse. And I want to get a lightweight one anyway, because this car, there's so many bits for it that you can get. I want to replace everything and make it as new as possible and make it as good as possible. But at the minute, I don't have like £2 to spend on a subframe. So that's why I've persevered with this one. And also it looks like a big job taking that whole subframe out. So I'm super happy that we've finally got the sway bar in place. 3 of the bolts are done up. I'm going to screw the exhaust back up so it's in its proper place and tight and everything. And then the final thing that I've got to do is remove this drop link from this arm. These are all going to get replaced eventually as well. But like I say, for now, funds are tight, so we're going to stick with what we've got. I've got some new drop links from 034, which look insane. Look how nice they look. I've had these parts for a long time. It's going to be really exciting to get them on the car, as well as the radiator, the turbo, get this driving again, because I've never driven it with the sway bar. So the next thing is this drop link. Seems to have seized inside. So now the thing's off, I'm going to give it a hammer this way. I did it on the car, it's super noisy, but now I might be able to get a bit more pressure on it. Yes, that is another outfit change. This took, again, way longer than anticipated. What I ended up having to do is cut that bolt on both ends and then pulling out the drop link. It had fully seized inside the drop link, so there was no chance. I was never going to reuse that, so it didn't matter. I've got the 034 ones, but that took a long time to cut up. Finally getting that lower arm back in, just tightening it up. What you'll see is that bolt in a minute is going to start spinning. It is offset, so I had to have a look how the other one was set up so I didn't throw it all out of alignment. And if I remember right, the little notch was pointing upwards, but you can see it spinning just there. Alright, we're finally getting somewhere, just putting the suspension bolts back in. That's the bolt that is not super secure. This one's good. A bit tight underneath it. There you go. And then that one, we're gonna take the bolt out of that, and then I'm gonna sort of grind it down just so the surface has got no rust on it. I'm gonna put the nut on it, and then I'm gonna weld the nut to the subframe. Getting this nut sort of up is really difficult. It keeps falling out the back, so I've put some tape over the back of this wrench, and then right, we've moved on to the ratchet and way more tape. It's not working very well. All right, part one. You can see the new nut is on. It's nice and flush here. That was a pain to do. It's gonna be real awkward. I'm gonna try and do the welding just on this side, see if I can get it to secure. So I'm gonna tighten it up a bit and then put a few welds in, see how that goes. I've been waiting for these bolts to come in. There's 2 bolts to go through the drop links. They're actually from Skoda parts, but yeah, they've got Volkswagen Group on them. The one, I only had one left. The other one was completely rusted. This is what the half decent one looked like. So I'm going to replace both of them.
It was an absolute nightmare trying to get these bolts. One, I didn't know which ones they were. Then I ordered it from this company. They then sent me a week later. They wouldn't send it to Andorra, but then I found a company to send it to in Spain, and then they forwarded it to me. Cost a little bit more, but we finally have them. We've got these beautiful 034 end links, all the hardware, and the welder down here to weld the nut on. So this will finally be the sway bar on the car. It won't be driving in this video, but I also do have new radiator, intercooler underneath the car, and then all the bits I need to get this front end back together. And that means we can tune it to stage 3, integrated engineering, and then I can get driving this car again, the first start in over a year. So let's get this sway bar secured in the car, the nut that I've got welded to the subframe, and wrap up the sway bar install once and for all. Welding is absolutely terrifying, especially when you're under a car not high off the ground. I got it done the best I could. I'll show you now. It didn't end up really pretty, but it's on there. Feel free to roast my welding skills in the comments below. That's the first time I've ever tried welding, apart from when I did the bolt on the nut on the end of the screw last time. Again, that was terrifying as well. I don't really understand why one of the sticks wouldn't work. So I used a new one that started working, but tons of sparks, and the mask sucks as well. But that's something to get better at.
This is where we got up to. That was absolutely terrifying. It's not the best, I know, but it is secured on there. That was really weird. I didn't really understand what I was doing. But this is what we ended up with. It's a temporary fix. Now we can get the drop links on. There we go. We have the 034 end links in place, sway bar tucked in there underneath. I had to rearrange this because it was touching that. There you go. Finally on. Things are starting to shape up.
I can't explain how happy I am to get that finally finished. The rear sway bar's on, the front one's been on for ages. We are one step closer to starting this car again and driving it. And this time with the new turbo, the sway bar on, and the stage 3 tune. It's going to be amazing. Thank you for following along for this extremely long build. I promise you it won't be too much longer. This car is going to Gravity 2026 on the Hook and Hope stand, as well as the Mercedes. There is a lot of cool things styling wise coming for this car, but for now we're just going to focus on getting it back running again. So in the next video I'm going to be doing the intercooler, the radiator, putting the whole front end back together, and the stage 3 tune. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.